Bill Henshaw here again, your friendly local constitutional coop, California. And today's subject is another menace to society known as the Homeowners Association. Eight. I don't know where these bastards think they get any authority from at all, but you're going to learn a lot of reasons why they don't have any and get them the hell out of your face. For openers, you want to go out and buy property, and assuming, like you have the means to do it, we have an unlimited power contract, Article 1, Section 10, U.S. Constitution, which does apply to the states. Oh, by the way. So we don't need to get involved with any HOA. They have nothing to do with it. And especially if they're a registered agency with any of the de facto government agencies, and that's all they can be. Because if that's true, and they have an LLC, they've admitted that they're a subordinate corporate birthright citizen under the 14th Amendment, otherwise known as a dead entity, and they have no jurisdiction and venue over you at all, because as you're going to learn, the 14th Amendment not only doesn't exist, it never has. Just like its Hellenistic handmaiden civil rights ain't. Transgender rights ain't. Woke, all of it. And I can prove it off the top of my head, as you will learn. Never existed, but it's astounding when you read this. And I'm sure there are a few people in government that know this, but apparently not very many, because they don't get taught this stuff even in law school these days, for crying out loud. But over the course of 40 years of my independent study, I picked up on a lot of things that I want to teach you, which will help you in all areas of your life here, not just with the HOA, but with evictions, mortgages, child procurement, syndicate, you name it. They're all administrative agencies. And wouldn't you know, the justices on the court right now in my hometown of Washington, D.C., are in their fourth year of an all-out assault against administrative agencies. We have an unprecedented window of opportunity to take care of this. And it's even better with your HOA, because they're going to have an LLC, limited liability corporation, which even if it were lawfully filed and it isn't, they're a corporate entity. They don't have any standing in a judicial court, to which you and I have the right from day one. And it's astounding when you think about this, but it's the truth. And therefore, and oh, by the way, even worse for them, if they're registered, you're going to find out, send me an email, youwinthecourt@gmail.com. You're going to learn that they're registered, if at all, with a territorial secretary of state. You are domiciled in a state judicial district, and you're not subject to their service process, just like you aren't with the vehicle code or anything else, because it comes with your name in all capital letters, and that's an artificial citizen, and it comes with CA, in my case, for California, and a zip code. What you're going to learn is you just got served, not in California, Arizona, North Carolina, Washington, D.C. That's not how it works here, and the justices on the court damn well understand exactly what I just said there, because you're domiciled in a state judicial district, and even if the HOA and other corporate entities somehow are lawfully in business, it doesn't translate doing anything to you in the jurisdiction of a sovereign independent state. A major big issue with the Supreme Court called the Pennoyer Rule, Pennoyer v. U.S. 95, U.S. 714. The justices on the court know this very well right now. And that's how you beat the bastards. You don't go in there, and try to file something under the BS 42 USC 1983 Civil Rights. Doesn't work, even if that statute exists. It doesn't. But that'll just get you in trouble, because if you use that amendment, you're saying you're a 14th Amendment subordinate corporate dead citizen. You don't have any rights that de facto a national socialist government is bound to respect. You sure as hell do as a state citizen, or even an inhabitant of a territory, let alone inhabitant of states. Territorial inhabitants have the right to trial by jury according to the course of the common law, not to mention habeas corpus, aka to the framers, and since the Magna Carta, known as the Great Writ of Liberty. But both of these have vanished like a fart in the wind, because in a federal insular territorial possession, you ain't got no rights. The hell with you. We don't need you except on election day, when somehow every 2 or 4 years you become competent, when the rest of the time, at best, you're incompetent, and at worst, you're dead. How does this work? And there's the magic 4 words for you there, not due process of law. Consent of the governed. It ain't anywhere in sight. The current justices on the court know this as well as I do. That's what's exciting here. And it may just be that you get my materials, and you're going to get, for those of you that are with the HOAs, you're going to get what I call my love letter to the HOA, telling them in no uncertain terms, just like I'm doing on this video, but in writing, get the hell out of your face. Game over. You don't have jurisdiction, we can prove it. And oh, by the way, to you LLC HOA types, Donald Trump is not subject to Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. But you are. You've embraced it wholeheartedly, you and your attorneys, otherwise known as unregistered foreign agents of the City of London. And you don't have any defense here because you knew what you were doing. You knew that the cases you were filing that never had jurisdiction, over your victims in any of these cases at all. But you went ahead and did it anyway. And at one and the same time, the victims are prevented from entering a judicial court because there's no known way to get into one. And what does the Supreme Court say about that? It says their bosses and our agents, case called Cohen's v. Virginia, 1818, 200 years ago. But the current justices know this case now. And they said, in effect, that the court must exercise jurisdiction if it hasn't, but it can't exercise jurisdiction if it doesn't. The one or the other is treason. If you don't know what the penalty for treason is, you can Google Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. Meanwhile, send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, for information about my modestly priced materials, and we can get started on your case, and with a little luck, get it summarily thrown out. If you're still stupid enough not to do it when we've set an unopposed record, now it's going to turn into a massive big settlement against them for the reasons I've talked about here. And we probably don't even have to file anything, even in a federal circuit court. And we may beat the bastards with the civil rights complaint, quote unquote, knowing that 97.5% of those get tossed on the first motion to dismiss. And the victims, to start out with, and then the victims in the federal court sometimes get fined for wasting the judicial economy of the court when there isn't any judicial court anywhere in sight. This is what has to stop. It's my duty to see to it as quickly as it can that that happens. I can teach you how to do it, and you teach your kids and your posterity things they're not going to learn in school. But if they learn it and they know it, they're going to be much harder to deal with. But in my own case, I've been domiciled in California 40 years. I've not been able to get into jail, except for the time I got arrested in a library out here 8 years ago and sent across the country for 2 months to South Carolina, a place I'd never been. And you think about that, it's pretty hard, if not impossible, to commit a crime in a jurisdiction you ain't never been in, isn't it? We'll talk more about that the next time. But yeah, it took 2 months to get across country from San Francisco to Columbia, South Carolina. Could have got me there in 8 hours on TWA. But in any case, we'll talk more about that. There's a lot of humor in that event, and I recognize that even when I was sitting there alone in the jail cell at Columbia, and you'll be stunned and amazed at exactly what I did there. Nobody does what I can do there. And the good news for you is when the attorney sees my work, they're going to understand who the hell they're dealing with there. Nobody does this. An attorney, I'd be surprised if there's any of them that could do from the comfort of their office what I did alone from the jail cell. That's the gift I have from upstairs and the great health I have. And I'm thankful for both of those every day. That's what allows me to get done here. What I should have known back in 10th grade U.S. history was why I was put here to start with. It didn't work out at the time, but better late than never. That said, remember to subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. The quicker we start taking it to them, the quicker we get these bastards off our backs. Thank you.